Well, a veteran of the music industry has passed away. Juno Award-winning musician, producer, and festival curator Vince Fontaine died suddenly this week. Fontaine, who is from Saugeen First Nation in Manitoba, received more than 75 nominations and 30 awards with his group, Eagle and Hawk. He also founded the award-winning group Indian City. For more on Fontaine's legacy, we're joined by David McLeod, the general manager of Native Communications Incorporated and a member of the APTN Board of Directors. David, thank you for being with us. You know, the passing of Vince Fontaine is such a big loss, obviously, for his friends and his family, but the music community as well in Manitoba and beyond. How are you going to remember him?
I'm going to remember, when it comes to remembering, I just hope it's not remembering. I hope it's inspiring. That he continues the work that the work he started continues, because I think he came about in the early 90s with in terms of developing Eagle and Hawk. It was 1994 that the band started, and at that time there was a real interest in terms of mainstream looking at the Indigenous community. So Vince was the perfect person to be around at that period to build bridges. So he forms this band, and then they wind up going to Europe more than a dozen times and then recording albums and winning Junos and working, collaborating with incredible people, including the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. So I'm going to remember him as, he was a Renaissance musical force of that era, of the 1990s.
You know, musician, producer, composer, festival curator.
Yes.
What do you think that history is going to remember Vince's legacy as being?
I think it's going to be that he was a, he was in terms of like the output. I think he was a really hard worker. He's an ambassador for the Indigenous community in terms of pulling people together and making projects happen. So I think that's what he'll be remembered for. Not so much as being the guitar player in a couple of bands. I mean, and even the legacy of like Eagle and Hawk putting out 10 albums, Indian City putting out 3 albums, winning Junos. He hasn't got enough credit for his writing. I talked to him about that one time. Just like, everybody sees you as Vince Fontaine, the guitar player with these incredible bands, but really he was, his musicianship and his songwriting were incredible, but also relationship building across the borders and building bridges between the Indigenous and the non-Indigenous community, and at the same time bringing messages like songs about murdered and missing Indigenous women, bringing that to the forefront, to the stage, songs about environmental concerns, bringing that to the stage, unifying people at shows. Sometimes they would sing Keith Secola's song, Indian Cars at the end of the concert, and everybody would form a huge circle and hold hands and move within that circle while the song played. I mean, that I think it's just as a visionary. Yeah. Let me just say that Vince Fontaine was a visionary for the community.
Well, the tributes are certainly pouring out on social media, so the impact that you speak of obviously is huge, and it exceeds just our Indigenous circles here, the music circle there. It's much broader than that. We thank you for taking the time, David, to share some of your thoughts on Vince's legacy. We're really glad that you could join us.
And thoughts and prayers to his kids,
Absolutely.
Also to his family. The fans, and to all the musicians out there, particularly the young musicians who were touched by in terms of him giving them advice and guidance. So I think that's something you're seeing a lot on social media. So Vince, we're going to miss you, and you were a beautiful force of music and love. So thank you very much for everything you did.
Yes. Marcy, thank you so much, David. Have a great day.
Thank you.